I don't see it.
Factored in ketchup.
We have to care about the agents.
Screaming at a drag show, so
Put it right on.
Right. I'm like, okay, the pizza boxes.
Right.
So we
All right, we are hot. I am here with the namesake, DJ DellaSala, and you remember her from our last podcast, Megan DeVust. She is our head of donuts. Yeah, Downing Donuts. We were downing donuts. Quick little podcast, real quick. DJ wanted to hop on.
It's very impromptu.
It's very impromptu, and when I say very impromptu, I mean like we are literally setting up for a podcast. And he's like, "Cool, turn it on." We're like,
Yeah, let's turn it on because Megan was in the room, and I was like, "What better way?" So I just want to kind of just fire some questions to Megan and just really just off the cuff and just say. So for those of you who don't know, Megan is selling her house and buying a house. So I think it's...
Wait, can I say doing that 8 months pregnant?
8 months pregnant.
8 months pregnant.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
Helping grow the team.
So these are going to be like just quick questions, and I just want to see. So like, what was your biggest fear before you decided to list your house, and how has the experience been? Like, you're buying a house or you're selling a house, you're 8 months pregnant, and you're simultaneously buying a house. Like, walk us through that. What's it been like?
So first and foremost, it's...
And sorry to interrupt you. Her agent is actually myself. So this is why I wanted to ask her. I wanted to get some real life feedback. Yeah. So
to start with the first question, I wanted to list my house probably last year because being in the industry and like talking to everybody and talking to you and Lindsay and what you guys do, it's inspiring, right? Like I want to be in the game. I want to be in the real estate game. My lovely husband didn't understand the game, so he was very emotionally attached to the house, right?
He did do a lot of work on it, so...
He did an incredible amount of work.
That's why.
like may have or may not built a nursery, or was that...
May or may not have built a nursery. He did a board and batten wall. He's built out a deck, like porch. Like he's incredible. But I was like, let's cash in. Let's do this. Let's listen to DJ Lindsey. We know nothing. What are we doing? Him and Hod, and 7 months later, here we are. So literally, I remember DJ showing us a house. We wanted to be on the island. I wanted a quality of life. Where our house is, it's beautiful, woods, all that. But I wanted more of a quality of life. And so, talking to you guys, you showed us this house. Stu brought his parents. Don't recommend that.
Hi, parents know everything.
That is true.
Not that they don't love our parents, but sometimes the world changes a lot.
And they don't realize what's going on.
It's not a bad thing.
No.
The new house location is fire.
Fire. So I think what hit him the most was that phone call you did after. So we get in the car. We're like, I don't know if we can do this house. Can we afford it? Like, what does this look like? My husband's a data guy, right? DJ calls us and says, worst case scenario, sell. You guys, this is the market. You need to sell, Carter. If you don't,
you become the wealthy homeless. But
right.
sell.
Correct. But
I used the famous line. I have never had anybody be homeless in the 15 years of real estate. And don't worry, you won't be the first.
You won't be the first. We hang up and Stu goes, so we're selling. And I said, so we're selling. So then it was kind of a whirlwind. He's a perfectionist, so he wanted the house to be perfect for listing photos. But honestly, I don't even know how we're here. So we are getting this beautiful house, 2 blocks, a block and a half from the ocean. We're selling our house for more than I ever imagined.
We'll sell your house for more. It's a real thing.
That's why I said it.
Good plug.
But when Stu saw what this team was doing for us, our transaction coordinator, Kelsey, is just insane because she's handling everything. We had something where we needed to kind of get a quote on something. She did it for us. And I'm like, wait, we're not doing this? Right. And so the experience has been, knock on wood, absolutely flawless and seamless because it's taken, for me, almost 8 months pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the stress out of the what ifs. I mean, of course, we're all going to have what ifs, but
Right.
having DJ be like, Megan, nothing fast.
And I was
happens in
just
real
checking
estate."
my phone because we do have an addendum out. We're trying to renegotiate some repairs on that. They did counter back at $2,500 off the purchase price yesterday.
Okay.
So how do you feel about that? She doesn't know about this. This is real time. Like this is.
So you're seeing right now, you're seeing a real estate agent talking to their client, basically telling them bad.
So
news,
here's
good
what I've
news.
learned.
So we've asked for 10,000 and they came back at 2,500.
Great
So
counter.
as my agent, I would say, what does this counter look like for us?
So I took the liberty of saying, I think it would be a good idea if we countered and met in the middle at $5,000. And so we're currently waiting on that $5,000 counter because they absolutely said no to the 10,000. But I think if you can get 5,000, you're in the clear. Look at her. She's like, holy crap, this is like real life.
This is real life.
Is this real life?
Very real life, guys.
Yeah.
But I guess that goes back to being on this side, right? Being where it's like, holy crap, we just sold our house for this. We're going to get this dream house for this. I know this sounds so crazy for people out there, but like, it doesn't even matter. You tell us what we need to do
Yeah.
because that's what's going to get us our future. And I think that that's where this whole process has helped me see my future versus see in the moment right now.
Which I
is-
don't think a lot of people do. And I try to tell people, like, $5,000. I know we're joking about it. But, like, the difference of $5,000 when we just saw a Zillow stat this morning. I just saw a Zillow stat that in 2022, it's not going to be quite record-breaking again. But it's going to be record-breaking of an 11% appreciation.
Right.
And, let's just call it, I'm not, not to call you out. So I'm going to call it a $500,000 house.
Call me out.
At
Just kidding.
10% is what, $50,000. So the 5,000 that we were talking about, which she's not, I'm just
Yeah.
in relative
Yeah.
terms of like what people sometimes get short-sighted of, what the price is versus what does my future look like.
Right.
And so
now-
Well, even, can I jump in real quick, Todd? Even to
you sound like
DJs
DJ there.
I know, right? Can I borrow you?
Can I borrow you?
Even that, like, so that being around DJ and Lindsay and working with them and this team, even if we didn't get that 10,000, right? If DJ were to say, hey, they don't want to give you anything, right? I've had this conversation with Stu of, let's look at 10K over a 30-year mortgage.
Right.
Is that really going to determine that we don't want our dream house? And then on top of it, I think what DJ and Lindsay have implemented in our mindset is the future. Like, guys, this could be an X dollar amount of house in a couple years. And my husband's very handy, so just him being in the house and making it our own again, having that mindset of like, wait a second, we're willing to walk away from something
Yeah.
of, let's say 10, 15, even 20,000. Sounds like a lot of money now,
Right.
but over the span,
Yeah.
you're like,
You're not looking to
you're
just,
giving
like,
that
step
up for
into
this.
home and
Right.
It's like a halfway house until you find where you're going to go. And so to speak, like people do that. People buy. I mean,
Yeah.
we just had somebody that we did a review with where dude bought the place 6 months ago and was just like, yeah, we like didn't love it. Like, I'll just sell it, and wound up making $40K.
Right.
Good
So it's
gosh.
like you guys aren't in the game for that, where you're like, okay, like some of this stuff doesn't really matter. So I want to go back to you and say, do you think that that's an acceptable counter at 5,000? Do you think there's a reason to push for it? And two, is $2,500 a big deal? I am
20 I mean
That's what
any amount of money. I mean
Yeah.
I think $20 is a big deal. I mean but understanding like, hey, we're at $2,500 worst case. I think that's a W.
Right.
Because we were going into this, we drastically got the price reduced. So going back with them at the 5,000 and hopefully getting that done, I'm pretty confident we'll get that done. That I think is a huge win. Not only that, we're asking for it in closing costs, so now she'll keep that. Her and Stu will keep that $5,000 in their pocket. Now that that $5,000 is it's tile and a bath. It's all
for
all
sure.
of it.
That's
So
why I didn't know because she spoke. That was a great point to like. Okay, I'm not going to lose this house over this dollar
Right.
amount because I know the longevity of the appreciation of the house is great. That's why I was like, okay, you having the knowledge that you have, do you think that's something an agent should push on and then? We'll just be like,
I definitely think so. And she brought up a good point that we don't talk about, I think, enough, and it's quality of life.
Yeah,
And
love
she's buying in a neighborhood that we recently sold in, which my best friends live in, that, some of my, some of the best neighbors I've ever had, like live in this neighborhood. It's like
Less than a mile from the beach.
it's less than a mile. It's like a quarter mile from the beach.
Yeah.
You can walk around. It's a cul-de-sac loop, and as you know, it's she's 8 months pregnant. So Wyatt,
Still.
you don't go down this street unless you absolutely you're dropping somebody off, or Paul that lives kind of across the street. They give music lessons. There's kids in the neighborhood. There's just so many benefits.
Yeah, it's a great neighborhood, location, everything.
Well, but I think too, like, sorry to cut you off, DJ, but like
Cuts me off a lot. I used to do that to
3
her.
years later.
Yeah.
I think what's crazy too is like when we bought our house 4 years ago, it was a much different experience. And I think being in this, like it's been surreal because oh my gosh, I'm working with trained professionals, right? I'm working with people that, I'm fortunate I get DJ and Lindsey directly, but I'm working with people that are creating this system for our agents to this point of like, wait a second, I don't even have to ask questions. Like, I don't even, I just know and I trust that I'm in good hands because, guys, I'm not going to lie, this is scary. Like, selling our house, going into a bigger one, the unknown is scary. But to know that, like, I have someone that's literally going to make sure I don't lose this house. I have someone that's literally going to make sure that all the back end is being taken care of. We didn't have that when I first started out.
And that feeling that you have because it's them and your relationship already is what you guys preach. It's copy and paste. Every realtor, every agent that we have in here is the same.
But what we train on and all we talk about is the sincerity and genuineness. And it's like, hey, because we have all of these, opportunities coming in, like there's not an agent out here that wouldn't do right for any of their people that they're working with, which I love. And that is 100% the mindset here. So I'm going to touch on one more thing and I'm going to jump to another question that I have for you.
Oh, man.
We're going to start putting you on the spot a little bit.
Hot seat.
But I told Megan this, and and if you're out there as a future home buyer or seller, we don't take in quality of life enough. And we talk about everyone's like obsessed with making more money, doing more things, living this crazy life. But what they don't take into account is like, hey, we're actually going to wake up here every day. We're going to spend, we're going to create Christmases. We're going to create memories here. And what does that look like? And I think when you're pulling up to your dream home every day after, sometimes a long day of work. I mean, there's good days, bad days. Let's not kid ourselves.
It's real.
But I think when you walk through those doors and you're like, oh, this is what it, and having that vision board of why I do what, and I think buying your dream home and raising, your family in there, it's going to be so amazing. So when you're out there, you're thinking about buying or selling, like jump into what 1 year looks like in 2 years and 3 years and think about those memories. I used to always say it when I was selling houses, like, is this where the Christmas tree is going to go? Because we don't, I think we're just so far, we're thinking about, oh my gosh, the mortgage, is this going to be that? Is my house going to appraise? Like you're thinking about everything else. What is the inspection report going to look like?
Right.
But really it's like, all right, let's take a step back. What is Christmas, Thanksgiving, and all of your future, first birthdays, second birthdays, and everything in between. So,
well, and I think what helped my husband too was he knew that the house we currently live in wasn't our forever home. It was a great first-time home buyers. I applaud him for that. But he knew that that wasn't the school zone we wanted to be in. That wasn't the area we wanted to be in. And so the more he's, become, accustomed to this conversation and, having these real conversations and really talking about it. He said to me last night, he said, all right, babe, next one's going to be an Airbnb. So now he's starting to change his mindset as to what does this look like? How do I invest in real estate? How do I play this game? Because he is seeing that our quality of life is going to change. He's a Dutchman, 6'4", loves to ride his bike. He's a big dude.
He's a big dude.
He couldn't.
And I looked up, I was like, you're going to buy this house.
Yeah. And he looked at DJ and said, you're right. Yeah. But the power of him being able to go, for him to be able to walk out of the house, get on his bike, and ride for miles safely with, every activity. And, we're very fortunate to be friends with DJ and Lindsey, to be able to be like, hey, we're going to get a golf cart next, and we're going to just ride to your house. Versus like, got to get in the car, got to make sure we have a DD, got to make, And I say that because it's very real. Like, it's very real for me to be like, I want to be near my people. Yeah. Not, oh gosh. And the beach.
Yeah, plus St. Augustine, the area you're moving to is, obviously it's gorgeous, but like the transit between where you're coming from in order to hang with your people was a little bit more annoying than anything. Right?
For sure.
Because it's an island.
Yeah.
So there's like only two ways to get to get onto the island, and it's literally over water. So it's like you either got to go along Giant Bridge, or you're going to go over the Drawbridge, which goes up like every 30 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
But
I think school zones too, like
and that's a good longevity issue because that is something that we were concerned with. Now, but before, I had to get you a chair. I'm like,
no,
why?
Okay, why?
Why?
Good.
You good?
No.
Well,
Yeah. Why do we need a chair?
Yeah.
I thought you'd need a chair.
Dang.
We're making.
Dang,
Shannon's pregnant. I didn't want her to stand.
Listen, I walk and talk all day long.
Oh my goodness.
God, what do they
I
Jeez.
was it's the hospitality.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
Talk
All right.
about me sitting.
hold on, but the point being is that now your interests have changed. So your first purchase, as you see from the purchase price to the sale price, was a great investment at this point.
Right.
But your interests changed, and now in order to align yourself with somebody who's then also going to ensure your best interest, okay, we need to find a school zone, we need to find all these, like, your wish list.
All the check.
thing-
Yeah,
all
you
these
gotta check. Yeah, check. Go down the list. Boom,
Right.
boom, boom, boom.
Right. So
But
that-
also to trust, and I'm interrupting you, but to trust that
You interrupt Todd a lot.
Just-
Jeez. Guy tries to get you a chair and then you
it's open
interrupt
forum,
him.
It's open forum.
I think also the trust on the financial side, because a lot of people look at this big price point, and I'm not going to lie, I never thought I would be in this position to have a home 2 blocks down from the ocean. I mean, I grew up on the beach purely because my parents bought a house when it was like $200 a month on a mortgage.
Are you gonna
in,
start
like, the
surfing
70s.
again?
No.
Why not?
I don't do well with water.
So what do you do well with? What's your favorite activity to do?
Yeah.
Like
So I know this is gonna
pre-pregnancy, post-pregnancy.
I know
What are you
this
looking
is going
forward
to
to?
shock you, but years ago, before I started with the DJ Lindsey team, I loved playing golf, and I was actually a pretty good golfer.
Oh wow.
And so my goal is to golf again.
Yeah.
All right.
Play tennis too. Tennis
All
is
right.
a fan.
All
so
right.
Pickleball is an up and coming thing, so it'd be a good.
I
way to
heard
usher
pickleball.
usher yourself back into tennis.
Yeah, it's trending hard right now.
Yeah, pickleball's
Have you
a
played
big thing.
pickleball?
Pickleball, I've played pickleball. It's a big thing among.
Yeah, but you're a
celebrities.
baseball player. Can you even keep it in the? Can you even keep it in the
Oh yeah,
court?
but it's great because it's basically
tell us, Todd, what is it?
It's elevated ping pong, where people are like, oh,
Okay.
it's table tennis. I'm like, no, pickleball is more like ping pong, whereas tennis is like its own thing.
Yeah.
People would be like, oh, I'm pretty good at ping pong because like you can figure out ping pong. You get to a tennis court and you're like trying to hit it. It's like not even
It's-
close.
you're-
Okay.
So pickleball's sweet. It's like giant ping pong balls essentially, but in like little paddles. But it's great
fun.
because it's
It's condensed. It's fun.
condensed.
Yeah, it's a
That's what
condensed
I'm like,
You and
version.
Lindsay were playing ping
Yeah,
pong.
it's great.
yeah,
Pickleball.
Yeah.
condensed. It's like spike ball, but for tennis.
Dude,
like
spike ball's fun too.
But it's the
A
same
little
thing.
old.
It's something
Be
you can
pulling a
just- you
hammy.
Just pick up and have a good time.
Yeah.
And not worry about
Yay,
injury.
sports.
I'm not good at this. Versus golf is a very. I mean, you play golf a lot. Golf is a very like.
Structure.
Damn.
Yeah,
Well,
I guess everyone
it-
saw my farmer's tan last week from my my cowboy
Yeah.
dancing post.
What did you get a farmer stand from?
Oh, a little bit of golf.
Yeah.
Yeah, going to the golf
Golf?
course. Got to make sure
Who-
you
who
you know
you
you got to keep.
golfing
Did you go alone or?
No, I
You played with some high level people. We don't have to name who they are. I wasn't one of them, so
Yeah.
don't worry.
I
about it.
was.
it was
Just
it,
kidding.
it was a great experience to say the least, and
But so you got a little color,
got a little color.
and from Lindsay's post, your cowboy video.
My cowboy, I wore a cowboy hat and I was
Exposed-
dancing, and
exposed your
put me
farmer's
on
tan.
Facebook.
That's what
and
happens
looking,
when you go to Texas to hang out with Tom Ferry.
All right, so
No,
Megan, let's
okay.
let's start here. So where if you had one superpower to be really good at one thing, what would that be? Like you only get one choice.
Power. Oh man. Is this like an everyday world? Like
Yeah,
life?
this is it. You get your genie in a bottle, and it's just not. It's not like it's not a physical thing. This is like something that you're just like going to It's not like give me $1 million or give me
Right.
all the gold in the world. This is like what can you be good at? Maybe it's golf. Maybe
Live
it's
childbirth.
like
Dear
what's,
God,
what's
no.
your superpower that you want?
I think my superpower, and DJ's helped me through this in the last couple of years, but I think to like elevate, I think my one superpower I would love is not taking things personally or overthinking. And I think that relates to this conversation, of course, because of buying and selling real estate. But I think it's the not overthinking and just knowing it's going to be okay. You've got this.
Yeah.
Just do
Right.
it. Rip the Band-Aid off. I mean, I tell agents all the time, just take the test, rip the Band-Aid off. But
Right.
if I could have a superpower that I'm excelling at, that would be it.
I think so many people are scared and they don't take that leap because of the what if. And I think I talked about it in a meeting, and they were talking about, what was that? I was listening to something. It was Kobe Bryant. He was like, oh,
Naturally.
what, it was a Kobe Bryant interview, and they were wondering like, hey, I always wanted to take the last shot, and if I miss, what's the worst that's going to happen? My teammates are still going to show up. They still know I'm all in. And he's like, so once you get that out of your head, that even if I do miss the shot, nothing changes.
Right.
And that's on basketball, but a lot of times in life, if you take that shot, most of the time things won't change. So if you're out there and you're thinking about doing something, take the shot, take the risk, take a little leap of faith every once in a while.
What's the worst that can happen?
What's the worst that can happen? Obviously, do it within reason that you're not putting anybody at risk or your family in a financial situation. Now, I'm not saying like put all the chips
service
on.
announcement.
Yeah, but if it's calculated risk at the right time, it's I think things that will help you take to the next level. And I think that's a great analogy that you brought up and a great superpower. So Todd, how about you? One superpower.
Yes, Todd, father.
One superpower that I wish. So your second one was a really good one to like not self-doubt. I'm like a massive person of self. Honestly, I'm not going to steal them. I want to address them.
It was good, right?
Yeah.
Very good.
I feel really good about them.
Relinquishing responsibility is a huge thing for me.
Right.
Especially someone with like OCD who's like kind of a perfectionist of like how you want things.
Mm-hmm.
Not that anybody else at this table is, but just very perfection, which is it's not a terrible quality by any means, but it's just a very perfectionist thing. And then self-doubt, like, did we do this right? Did we have a missed opportunity? Like things like that, I think, are huge. But if I could have one superpower, it would be to always, because it would solve to be always leave a good taste in the people's mouths who I deal with and speak with.
That's solid.
Superpower, which would solve my self-doubt, because I'd be like, know that.
But how do you know that you've left a good taste in their mouth?
Because that's my superpower.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because you know that it's your.
Well, that's what I'm like. If I was
Okay.
invisible, I'd be like, you can't see me. I'm invisible. That's like
Yeah.
I know my superpower is like,
I know I'm gonna walk away and they're good.
What was the? It was Mel Gibson. It's What a Girl Wants. We can hear what people think.
Oh
God.
wow.
Right.
That's bringing it
Dude,
back.
that was a good movie.
But it's that.
Yeah.
I could like hear. They'd be like, wow, that guy was a really cool guy. I'd be like, see.
Yeah.
See, I already know.
Hey, that's
like,
a good superpower.
Right, that would be my superpower, is to always leave, because then you never have haters, because we always say if you attract haters, you're doing something right.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't, because
We're doing
You
it
already
right
know.
anyways.
Yeah.
doing right, but we're leaving, like, people are always going to see the good side of us, always.
Yeah.
Okay,
I think that would
so
be my superpower.
DJ, your turn.
My superpower that I think it would be like transferring, you got
Transferring my funds, because it's
no. God, get out of here. No.
Just transfer information.
Like we're friends, and
Yeah.
I think a lot of people that are very close to me know what I'm about, know who I am, and like everything. So if I could do anything, I think it would be better transferring like how why things I want, how my
What
vision
you
is,
mean.
what
Yes.
the bigger picture is.
The funny thing is what you were trying to do right now.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say, like, I wish I could transfer it better, because I can tell you, like, it's always positive and goodwill behind it, and and I know we move things really fast, and I wish it could just be like, Todd, bump heads, yes, you know why now,
Yeah.
and it's like, but our relationship has
Bump
kind of come to that. All of ours have is like, hey, it's not like we don't need to know, we don't need to dive in 3 days of why we're gonna do this, but it's just like
How we do it, that's
Yeah.
the way you want it, because there's a plan behind it.
yeah, and if I could do that on scale with
For sure.
Yeah.
100 agents that we
That's
have
a
out
good
there,
one.
that would be really cool.
It's basically
And
like
I
reliving
think-
memories and being able to like pluck them out and
Yeah.
put it in somebody's head, but you want your plan.
Well, and what's a good one? I love, though, DJ, that you say that, because your leadership, the people that are close to you, do know you. So when you come in hot, right, we all joke about like we're sweating, but really we just know that there's passion and there's excitement behind it. And then, even for me, sometimes I've had to be like, oh God, what happened? And then I'm like, wait a second, there's a reason behind this. We've got to get here because of this. And it's really your passion for the growth. It's your
Yeah,
passion
for
for
sure.
moving. But some people don't understand that. So what I've loved is being able to share that with people and being like, hey guys, this is why. Like,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah.
Like, you got to
And
be
we can only
here.
say, just trust us. And
Right.
it's like,
You
yeah, I
can't-
promise. Like, look at
Right.
we have everything to back it up. But, and I'm really working on that with all of leadership is, hey, how do we transfer all of that into the why? And I think once we, we're doing really good right now. And I think once we do it even better of telling the why, like, I think it's going to take us to a whole nother level, because the why behind it is such a positive thing that I'm excited about.
But we talked about it too in the podcast that we did, and I loved it. We called it the COVID
I
years.
was
So now I'm
drunk
just
on donuts, I can't even remember.
the sugar high.
My body
He
was
had
Like,
donuts.
just-
out instantly.
They both had donuts this morning too.
Yeah.
Yes, we
mini
did.
bar.
I did
Mini
actually-
donuts
I
though,
didn't
mini
have
bar.
Mini bar.
Yep.
When I walked in there, I was like, "There's no like."
Matt didn't
honestly,
get any.
blessing in disguise.
Yeah.
We didn't save any for Matt.
Got a game ball.
He got a game.
But
ball
I
today.
think, you know, we call it the COVID years, but like just seeing where the evolution has been, like, so go, like, not to tie it all back together, but like even the photos, right? Even JoJo coming in, Kelsey, everyone helping my house sell for more. Like, I remember when it all started just evolving and people were just thanking you guys for a job because they had gotten laid off.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean,
And
that
like
was a huge thing.
having just that as the foundation, I think, for a lot of leadership and a lot of where this vision is going is people are like, wait a second, they took me on when no one else would. And now I'm here, you know, we say drinking the Kool-Aid or whatever it may be,
Yeah.
but it's saying, wait a second, we're all here for this growth because I know where I was in 2020. I know where I was in 2021.
Yeah.
Now, where am I going to go in 2022?
Yeah.
Because it just keeps evolving.
So so that leads me into my next question I was going to ask you. So what scares you, like you've been, you know, such, you know, it's what you do is you grow, you're a growth advisor.
Right.
What scares you most about the growth?
I think it's
She's like everything. I'm freaking terrified.
Yeah.
And
I'm actually not going to go on maternity leave. No, I think what scares me the most about the growth is making sure everything as a growth advisor I'm telling these people is happening for them.
Yeah.
And I take that on very seriously because as we've talked about this, and I've told you and Lindsay, and Todd knows this too, but we're very honest people, right? It's very much, if you do this, you will have these results. And only they can do it, right? Like I always talk about, you know, agents like Scott will thank me for being here, but I'm like, dude, you're the one that showed up at 7:30 in the morning. You're the one that stayed late. You're the one that made yourself this successful. I think for me, the fear is always being like, you're going to trust me because I'm not lying to you.
Yeah.
I'm not over promising and under delivering. And that's what I think has hurt this industry so much with
Right.
agents. And so they come to me after they've spent $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 on leads and
Right.
brokerage fees and all these things. And they're like, why should I trust you?
Which some people don't like to hear up front, and it's funny because you have said, be like, oh yeah, I talked to her 4 months ago, told her whatever the plan was, and now she's back again because everyone thinks they know best for themselves, which is fine. You always want to have that kind of North Star in you. The problem is a lot of people operate under not the best information. So they're like, I know
I
that
mean,
this
it's
is
on
good for
Google. It's real.
But we live in a world, think about Facebook. We live in a world where you can literally align yourself with people who think exactly like you, and you guys can just blow smoke up each other. Like, we're right.
That's
we're
Well,
right.
not only
That's
that,
pretty
or you
aggressive,
can,
Todd.
you know,
But we're like, we're right. We're like, our opinion's right. And like, dude, you guys are so wrong. I mean, just think about how many people hate a certain partner of ours that were like, oh, that's a huge fan. And they're like, now they're like, well, kind of wish I didn't dog that.
Dang.
Yeah.
Right,
Dang.
right, right.
But
I said that today in the
But
Yeah.
go back to the self-doubt is because
Right.
there's so much you can align yourself. You're like, I'm doing the right things. I'm doing the right things. I'm doing the right things. I just did all the wrong things for the last 6 months. It's like,
and that's what, and you know, and maybe that's what I want to transfer out to the world so much. If I had a superpower to do, and it's like, we are truly like standing behind what we're saying and we're doing, and it's still so, it's not easy. I mean, you think it
No.
would be easy, like, oh wait, you have 80-90% splits. Oh, you give transaction coordinators. Oh, you give all the marketing. Oh, you do all the listings. Oh, you give leads on top of all of that, and you as close to a guarantee as possible. Yet still, you have so many people out there bashing that because that's not the way it has been done
Right.
for 50, 75 years.
Right.
And that's what I tell my team is I'm like, guys, we're fighting an industry standard,
Yeah.
not DJ Lindsey team, right?
Right.
And so for us, it's I'll look at agents and I'll see them in their eyes and I'm like, I know what you're thinking. This is too good to be true. Where's the shoe going to drop?
Right.
I talked to this couple in South Florida and I'm like, you have stop picking apart, certain things. You've got to understand this is completely different.
Yeah.
And I think that we're also working on that mindset shift, right?
Yeah.
The mindset of you got into real estate, you got into selling to be successful, to do something with it. Why are you letting the self-doubt? Why are you letting
And we all
what
have
you
self-doubt.
should- for sure.
Everyone wakes up and every morning with
Every day.
self-doubt. And
Right.
I think anyone would be lying to say they didn't.
For
you
sure,
know,
because
Right.
again, we live in a world where everyone's measuring themselves against something, someone, somewhere.
Right.
Because at any point in time, I mean, we can watch what's happening currently in the Ukraine from your pocket.
Right.
Yeah.
Before that didn't exist.
It's crazy.
So many
It's-
people got into real estate, that didn't exist.
Right.
Right.
Well,
So-
my analogy of the Uber drivers, right? Like, I grew up with a safe word, right? Stranger came up to me. They didn't know the safe word. I wasn't getting in that car.
Right.
I'm using an app to take me
Yeah.
out so I don't have to drive home at night. Like,
Yeah.
You just brought up Uber. I'm thinking that people doubted Uber when Uber came and they're like, "Oh, you're just
Yes.
gonna get into any stranger's car." I'm like, "Do you know the taxi driver? Like, you're getting into a
So,
stranger's car.
yeah.
Like, what are you talking about?" So now that there's just somebody else can just be like, "I'm gonna do that with my own car and
Yeah.
supplement income." I'm like, that's a huge thing.
and then Lyft came, and now Lyft is a competitor to
Right.
Uber. Like, what?
Yeah, it's we're right now, and that's the most exciting part I think for
Yeah.
me is seeing it wow, those people were right for the last 7 years, right? Like we're in year 2.5, 3. So like I
Right.
think that's what's most exciting for me is that we're so early and we're starting to show these people and some of these larger, Wall Street, publicly traded companies are like, dude, you guys
Oh.
are doing it right. How do we figure this out?
I mean, we're partnered with the NFL. Like, I joke about the Jags. Sorry for anyone in Jacksonville, as I'm wearing a Jags sweater. But, we're partnered with, like, an NFL company. Like,
Yeah.
every Sunday, this is people's religion.
Yeah.
And we're now partnered with that, And so, like, when you ask, like, what scares me, some of it isn't even fear. It's like, I'm really wanting to know what's next because I
Yeah.
know something's
That's
coming.
that's what scares
Well,
me.
you
That's
know-
what scares me is like, hey, we need to do this.
Well-
It's happening yesterday.
Well, here,
Awesome.
we'll just kind of talk about what's next. We are opening up another market in the next 30 days. It's a very large market.
Yep.
And, yeah, by the time this rolls out, the announcement will have been made. But it's exciting. It's scary. But I know that it's a necessity. I know we've solved the problem. We've solved the problem for the agent of getting business, being successful. So I know that we have 100% solved that. Now it just brings back, like, are you okay with being accountable? Which I'm going to ask you this question because you've hired so many great agents. You've seen agents, come. You've seen agents leave.
Yep.
Why do you think people are so scared of accountability? I'm going to ask you the same question because I think it's not
I've
talked
time-
about
I've time to think
enough
about it.
as a world. Like, so
No, it's-
I think it's a thing. So what, because there are if you are going to give somebody a $500 to $700, a lead,
Yeah.
Right.
there is accountability that's kind of associated with that. I say this all the time. I'm accountable to my partners, Zillow, Realtor.com, all of the,
Right.
my lender, everybody. Everyone's expecting something from me because I've promised them, like, hey, if you partner with us, I'm going to deliver this result. So
Right.
seeing that and hearing it all the word as like that word that everyone uses, why do you think people are so scared of it?
Before you
I-
start, you do a great job with the restaurant
Analogy?
analogy. So you can. Do
You
what
want me
you're
to
gonna
share
say.
that analogy?
I'm saying do that at the end. So speak
Okay.
freely and then hit that because that puts it so in perspective for people. You're like, wow,
That makes sense.
That makes sense.
All right.
I mean, I love that you love it because, so I think, and I speak from personal, right? Like there are months that I've, not hit my number for the team. Accountability wise, I'm like, okay, what day did I slack off? I've worked 6-7 days a week. Sometimes I
The day
grinded
you
like,
ate a dozen donuts at 4 p.m.
yeah, the day I got pregnant, like that's probably,
Correct.
but I think I guess I would say, unfortunately, and it's not an elephant in the room because we admit, agents come and go. I think it's that they start to become, and I don't mean this rudely, but comfortable. They become lazy. It's easy here. And when I say easy, I mean real estate's hard, right? But the opportunities that are provided make it where it's like, oh, wait, I just crushed this goal in this amount of time. I definitely can do this on my own. And it hurts, I think, for me because I get emotionally attached to our agents. We are like a family. I know DJ, you and
Yeah.
Lindsay have, been hurt by people, and I think that they don't realize that this is actually a relationship for us too.
Yeah.
We are dating, right?
Yeah.
We are in a relationship. We're committed to each other. We're partners. I think that the accountability word is so lackadaisically used, but here it's actually real. You have Brittany, Brett, Travis, DJ Lindsey, even
We all have
your
skin in the
marketing,
game. Yeah.
even the marketing team has skin in the game for
Red
the
equity.
agents, right? To say, hey, we're busting our butts for y'all
Yeah.
to make sure you have the opportunities. And in my opinion, if I were to go out and get my license tomorrow, we were actually talking about this at lunch with my growth advisor team. There is no other place I would go because, dear Lord, how do you do it? And I think it goes back to.
Okay.
I got lunch today. I think it goes back to.
I did too. I ate at Restoration Hardware. It's really good.
But I did take his
Yeah.
Parking spot. I'm
Yeah, that was
pretty
messed
proud.
up.
I saw that.
I mean, you are pregnant. We actually have a
Yeah.
So
We
do I
should
get the
stork-
handicap?
Stork parking.
stork parking. But I think accountability just doesn't relate to this team. Like,
No,
I was working out yesterday. I work out. I don't know if I told you this.
Does anyone know that DJ works out?
You know, it's
did
like
you
a,
know?
oh, yeah,
I
here
don't
we
know.
go.
Damn
Yeah.
it.
But
2 days a week. Just kidding.
I think like we if you see like all of these weight loss apps and you see all of these things that are coming out,
Instant gratification.
like instant gratification. And, let's talk about Bitcoin. We've talked about this on podcasts, blah, blah, blah. But, yesterday I was working out and I was doing legs, and a lot of people are like, oh, like legs. That's what I'm not trying to impress, but testosterone, the majority of testosterone comes from working out your legs, and
Right.
I'm
Did you know that?
Trying to have it.
Fun fact.
Trying to have
Majority
it.
of my testosterone comes from my scalp.
Yeah, dude, your head is really shiny today. I
God.
can like see your veins.
Fresh pick on it.
But I did my workout, and I was halfway through, and I was like, I thought my legs were gonna give out, and I was gonna fall back and break my head open, and I was like, you know what? I kind of like, I stopped halfway through my last set, and I was like, all right, cool. And I was like, I start to walk out the door, I'm like, nah, dude, you're so much better than this.
Yeah.
But that's what we see agents do all the time here, and I was going to cut you off, but it's like,
Cut me
it's
off.
like
I'll go
watching,
to
it's
you.
like watching the Olympics and watching someone run around the track, and they're on their, like, they're literally starting to break their stride, and all of a sudden they just leap over the fence and start running, where you're like, where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah.
No one's behind you. You're like so in the lead.
Right.
Why are you just
Stopping, letting go.
And you just think you know what you're doing. And it goes back to the thing we just shot that I just posted on social media. Follow us everywhere at DJ and Lindsey.
Nice
It's
plug.
about passion. And no matter what you're doing, you're going to have a burnout sensation if you're not fully in love with it. And I think what you've made and who you're finding are people who have a passion for real estate and have no clue what to do. They're like, I love selling people, homes. I love dealing with people. I'm a people person. I love having conversations. I have no clue how to generate business other than talk to my sphere. I have no clue how to write a contract properly, win a deal, right? Like all these things, you have created this process for people so that if they have a question and don't know how to do something, it is solved here.
It's solved, and it's a sure thing, and just because I'm very passionate about this too, so I wanted to know.
His eyes got really big on it.
Yeah, and I'm like,
but that's the passion that
it's
we're talking
like,
That's what I
about.
mean.
but I want it to be known on a podcast, on video, that like, all right, sure, there's unicorns and one-offs everywhere, so I'm not going to say 100%, but I can confidently say, and 98% of our first-year agents will outperform anywhere else, and and then let me go to year 2. I guarantee my year 2 agent, and like I'm looking at Scott and Lauren. I just they have like 15 million closed and pending, and it's March 1st.
1.
So I'm looking at them. I'm like, okay, year 2 agents. I'm arguably going to say they're going to outperform any other year 2. And then I can't wait to see year 3, year 4, year 5. And I'm going to go on record right now when, my first agent hits their 10-year anniversary. I will go on record and say that 10-year person will outperform 98% of everyone else that got their license the same time as them. So this isn't just like, oh, I'm brand new to the industry. I can do this year 1, year 2, year 3. Like what we're creating right now is longevity and like 5-year, 10-year plan. So what we're doing right now and creating is like a 3 to 5 year vision for all of our agents to now say, okay, I built a business on this lead gen. I can also do this, and all of these things and expand. So like the future of where we're going right now is for a tenured agent for 5, 10, 15, 20 years. And I'm excited. So I'm gonna kind of, we'll rewind this in 10 years and see how right I am. I'm confident that I will be.
I'm gonna have hair that looks like yours in 10 years.
Yeah.
So
and I'll be fully
before
gray,
I have to
by the way.
I have to give the analogy just because.
Yeah,
it's
let's
exciting.
wrap with the
But
analogy.
Let's
I
wrap
need-
with the analogy.
But I want to ask you a question.
Okay.
To your question after that. So I like to use the analogy because most people are leaving W-2 jobs, right?
Right.
They have consistent pay, or they're leaving the service industry or whatever it may be because they may be burned out, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I like to use this analogy because my background is restaurant industry. So is yours. And,
I was in.
okay.
I worked in
But I use the word burnout. And just we're post-COVID years right now.
That's my question. Don't go crazy.
Okay, sorry.
Back to the analogy.
So
We're painting a picture.
Megan yells at me.
Painting a picture.
guys,
You're opening up.
this is literally right after lunch.
Yeah.
DJ said, "Hey, I have questions for you. I want you on camera." So
We're painting a picture. You are a young entrepreneur. You're going to open a restaurant.
Yeah, your voice just cracked.
Sorry, I'm going through puberty. Can't you tell from my hair? You're opening.
Not your beard.
You're opening a
Or your
restaurant.
chest hair.
Okay. You're opening a restaurant and you have no money to open it. You have no equipment. You have nothing.
You've been a server, bartender your whole life, right? And you're like, I can do this because I want to be the owner, right? So I use this analogy of, I want to start my own restaurant. I want, to be the newest River and Fort down in St. Augustine, right?
Mm-hmm.
I use the analogy that for us here, we're the financial investors, right? We're making sure that the kitchen and the dishwasher and the staff and the branding and everything is in that restaurant to make sure this restaurant gets up and running.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people, this goes back to work ethic and this goes back to accountability, I think. If an agent comes to us and says, thanks for everything. You just spent millions of dollars on me. Thanks for this restaurant. But we're only going to be open Wednesday and Saturday. Probably not going to work, right? The restaurant's not going to make the money. The partnership is not going to work because, at the end of the day, let's be honest, partners have to be paid back. It has to be working as a unity.
So you can live off of those 2 days.
Right. And how do you as the owner
how
make
do you
money
do that? Yeah.
to pay yourself back,
That's a great
right?
analogy.
And so I say that because I think a lot of agents, we talk about accountability. They're like, oh, I'm going to sell a couple homes. I'm going to do this part-time. Part-time doesn't work because
Part-time work pays part-time.
That's working Wednesday and Saturday only at the restaurant, having random 5 days off.
And guess what? When your buyer wants to go see something on Thursday,
right? Where are you?
They're
going to
they're
somewhere
gonna
else.
They're gonna buy it with us.
Okay, so my question is, so that's my analogy. Everyone knows it. Yep.
Yeah.
Don't-
So basically,
Great analogy.
TM, don't rip it off.
The analogy is such that someone's going to open up a restaurant for you. You're the staff. You only want to work 2 days a week.
Right.
The financier is going to be like, yeah, this is not.
Megan,
gonna
after
work out.
that third year being open, since you're doing such a good job, are you able to close up 5 days more or anything like that?
Yeah, like you can just work 1 day a week at that point, right?
No.
Yeah. Oh.
The restaurant still wants the people because people are going to come to that restaurant, right?
People
so
are
like
still
it's,
hungry.
we joked about like where do we go for dinner in St. Augustine anymore? And if a place that's always open on a Sunday and I know that that's where I'm going to eat on Sunday
Right.
starts closing, I'm going to find a new Sunday place.
Yeah.
Right? If I go to the same restaurant on a Tuesday, go to the same restaurant on a Wednesday, try Thursday and they're still closed, I'm going to be like, are they shut down? What's happening?
Well, Sundays we always have Italian Sundays at our
right.
house,
Yeah.
so
I'm
you always
sorry.
can count on that.
Monday's mi carnal.
Yeah.
Okay, so my question to you, DJ, is on the scale of, right, like we're talking about agents 3 years, 5 years, 10 years that are going to be with us, because I know who they're going to be. How do you support or talk about burnout? Because I think it's a new word now, especially after the COVID years.
it's
I'm
huge.
kind of annoyed by
Watching
the word.
restaurants close. Yeah.
Right, but how do you support that truly work-life balance? Because you and Lindsay have been able to maintain it. You guys get, you have this beautiful life, but you guys are in office. You're working. DJ Lindsay were a part of my interview today, which was amazing. But how do you combat that? Hey, we're going to hold you accountable, but we also want you to have a really great life and go on vacations and not burn out.
Yeah. I see it like, especially right now. I think we are understaffed in many industries, whether it's construction, nursing, restaurants. Everybody that is working right now is working on all cylinders, and it's really hard.
Facts.
Guys, real estate, let's not kid ourselves. Why do people get into real estate? It's to help people buy a house and sell home, but it's one of the highest earning positions that you can get into. Like I'm watching first year agents make the same as dentists and doctors, and we don't understand that. This is one of the highest earning industries.
And the course was only like $9.95
and the barrier to entry is very low.
Right.
But when we talk about burnout, but we talk about where the consumer demand is going. So what I'm trying to solve for right now is taking those layers off by utilizing the transaction coordinators, by using the listing coordinators, by utilizing all of these things and creating a plan for yourself. Yeah. I'm almost 16 years deep. Yes, and I was talking to Lindsay about this. It's, I'm doing different things now, but burnout to me, because of my passion, isn't real. But I think like you have to literally, and you want to earn a high income for many years, 3, 5, 10 years is kind of not a long time to to
In
feel
the
that.
overall grand scheme of things.
You know, I
right?
see, you know, that's why athletes retire, 15, 16 years and different things. I mean, I get it. I mean, they've been doing practice. We're showing up every day. But I think we're kidding ourselves if we say, I'm burnt out year 1 or 2 or 3. It's like, okay, I'm looking, I was at, you used River and Port. They're 1 million miles an hour, and every one of them,
running like chickens with their head cut off.
so busy.
Yep.
You go to nurses, you look at teachers that show up 20 to 25 years in a row.
Right.
And a very,
For their tenure.
Yeah, but it's a
Retirement,
hard,
right.
difficult, I'm friends with a lot of teachers, and I see, like, legit, every industry has burnout is where I'm trying to go. It's like, it's not if, but it's how do we solve all of the things that maybe you're always trying to replace yourself, meaning, like, you're trying to do things, and how do we hire? How do I get you an assistant, a showing assistant, a transaction coordinator, all of these things, I can get you there. But you have to start, you have to go through and do all of those things.
Pain points.
100%.
You gotta learn and then be like, okay, I can do that. I can pass that off. I can do all. So, to your answer, like I'm actively trying to solve that to cut it in half again.
Right.
But for our first and second year agents, I think it's pretty amazing to see that we're trying not to burn out. And it's not us; it's the demand of the consumer.
For sure.
And I'm not asking you.
Which is what you said. Yeah.
And when we give out leads, it's not like, hey, Megan, you have to take these leads. It's like, you keep claiming all of these leads, and then you have 20 people that then it's March, it's springtime, more inventory just came up. They're all hitting you at once. Like, it's overwhelming. And this is a peak and valley, type of business that, you'll be super slow for a few weeks,
nervous,
and they'll be like, oh, I'm going to go on vacation, and you plan a vacation, and then like every customer comes out of the woodwork saying, I want to see houses, and then it's like, oh wait, the overwhelm comes in. So it's like keeping the balance of the team and lowering the amount of overwhelm, I think, is going to be where the future goes in our business, because it is demanding, it is hard, it is sad, it is happy, and every emotion in between.
Right.
But will there ever be a silver bullet? I don't think so.
Yeah.
But we have to go back to the why. Like, what is our goals? Is it retirement? Is it buying real estate? Is it setting our families up for living in a life that that can create passive income and different things that.
Yeah.
But if you're in your 20s and 30s and 40s, these are they call it our best earning years. Like these are your years that aren't supposed to be fun. I mean,
better
it's hard.
way to correct yourself if you've had a previous life of like, man, I really didn't have my stuff together as much as X, Y, and Z. This is a great place to start. This is a good foundation to learn about business, learn directly from you guys and the rest of the leadership team, and then also actually make an income to where you can start planning out whatever the rest of your life is going to look like.
Yeah.
Well, and to take, I don't have favorites, but Scott was a dear friend of mine.
Well, I'm a favorite. So.
You're a favorite, yeah.
I'm not.
Only because we both love my husband.
Yeah, that's correct.
It's not very nice. My feelings are hurt. Matt just finally gave me a freaking pound the other day for the first time.
Whoa, that's relationship goals. But looking
actually,
at
before you answer that, who's your favorite Todd or I?
probably DJ. Sorry, Todd.
That's no doubt.
I'm just kidding.
Only because he's selling my house for more.
What's your favorite thing about Todd?
God, there's so many things. He's just so wonderful.
So
Todd.
Now hold on.
Wait,
you got to
wait.
answer. What's your favorite thing? You have one thing to pick about Todd.
He will always go to bat for anyone that asks him to do something, and he'll take it on personally if it's not done right.
Yeah.
And
He went and got these mics a few minutes ago. I'm glad we got them now. Actually,
They're tight.
they're tight.
hey, you know what? We should
wonder if
do we should Zoom some meetings.
Yeah,
That's a good idea. Well, no, but the point being is that
they're making fun of me.
you guys, we all share the same qualities, best qualities, and probably worst qualities, in the sense that they find people that are alike, that have the same passions. Like, you have a passion for helping people and showing people, hey, this is exactly how you can build your life. Right. Like, my passion is doing this, right? So like Matt coming from this is what I love. So like I work super hard, but it's because I love it. So I'm not like, I was burnt out 10 years ago before I even met this company. Right. Just because you're just working. You're trying to start a business, you're trying to meet people, network, whatever. I walk in here and he's like, cool. Like, you want to do this? Let's do this. Cool. Oh, you want to start a podcast? Let's do it. Right.
Yeah.
Like, it's just fueled with, hey, like, if that's what you want to do.
Hey, you bought new mics? Wow.
Yeah, you want a new mic?
But if that's what you want to do, like, do it. I'll give you the tools. I'll give you what you need to do it.
Right.
As long as you do it and hold up your end of the bargain. And
right.
That's why, like, I don't think it's that crazy of an ask when we ask people to come in here and do the things we ask, because it's not like we're like, hey, do it, run your head into the ground. All right, see you, thanks. It's like, made a ton of money. If you burnt yourself out, it's because you A, didn't love to do this in the first place, and B, you
got comfortable.
You let yourself down because you went too hard and didn't say, okay, I'm going to burn. I mean, I've heard you guys say it in like these seminars you're doing of just like, hey, like this is how we do stuff. Like burnout is real. You preach it to them. If you work your tail off and you drive yourself into the ground, that's no one's fault but your own.
And people that burn out don't have what their North Star is. They're working. They don't have
the vision board
or just anything. Like we're all what are you waking up for? What is your quality of life? It's coming home. Like we forget that, and it's easy to forget that because it's hard to think long term. We're like thinking of everything so quick.
Right.
And so that's my kind of thing I want to leave with. It's like it's okay to think long term. It's okay to think short term. But if you're not working towards what that really North Star is,
and knowing what it is, because that's what you've said.
There's not clarity.
You've said to me, Megan, what are you doing this for?
Yeah.
And there was a year where I was like, for you, I don't know, why not? Like, and then
which is fine.
Which is fine.
Right.
But like now it's, oh my gosh, I'm doing this because I'm going to have a house 2 blocks from the ocean
with Wyatt,
with my son Wyatt, and I'm gonna have this badass stroller that we got from DJ Lindsey.
Yeah.
That I can do wheelies, and now my quality of life is, I'm not on a road that's dead end with woods and all that, but I'm not worried about how am I gonna take my son for a walk or teach him how to ride a bike and things like that.
Teach him how to surf. You better surf.
He'll surf. We'll get Noah on that.
Yeah. But
and Todd.
To wrap it, thank you guys.
No, we don't have a silver bullet, but you're pretty close.
Yes, thank you guys.
Megan has joined our team, is going to sell it, bought a house, going to sell it for more.
Yes.
And 2, follow us everywhere, like, subscribe.
Whoa.
Smash that like button.
Yeah. DJ and
I've always
Lindsey
wanted to say that.
everywhere.
Smash the light bulb? Is that what you said?
No, the like button.
The like button.
Seen, like, YouTube?
Smash the like button. Give
Smash it.
Megan, her baby, and her husband a lot of love, and we'll see you next time.